The nab Oz kick, half-time, they absolutely love it. And that young man there, he didn't find a lot of it, but he loved the opportunity. Look at the handball style. The rocket handball invented by Kevin Sheedy on show there. And what a beautiful right foot this young man has. Look at the spin of the drop punts. Magnificent stuff. Half-time here at the G. The Hawks in control, 69 to 29. A 40-point lead for them as they make their way back out on to the MCG. And they have been in really, really sparkling touch.
Yeah, they have. And Jared Ruffhead's first half has been absolutely at his all-time best. There's the man on screen. Been a different role for him. He started in the centre bounce, which I really like. His slick hands have been a real feature. Strong tackling, Richo, but 3 first-half goals were a bit of the icing on the cake.
He's just been really good in close tonight in traffic. He's dished off some handballs to players, to teammates, to let them roam. He's finished off with 3 goals, but he's also done some creative work where he didn't even take possession. He just tapped the ball into the path of teammates, and he's been involved in a lot of Hawthorn goals tonight, Ruffy.
Just looking really, really sharp and on top of his game and enjoying the moment. Lingy, from a Sydney perspective, what do you think they need to do to get back into this game?
Well, Hawthorn have been so good at just trapping them inside their own forward 50. Sydney need to get some run going. Nick Melcheski's only had the 3 touches. Osborne's done a fantastic job on him. They need to free him up a little bit. Let him get his creativity and run going a bit. Jetta got going a little bit in that second quarter, keep feeding him the ball, but they've got to keep taking the game on. They can't let Hawthorn just keep strangling them, keep dictating terms. They've got to get some run going through the middle part of the ground.
Yeah, I think you're right, Lingy. I wonder if they'll make some positional changes to Sydney, because that centre forward role with Sam Reid, who's had a tough year, he's been out of form a little bit, playing the hardest position on the ground, and you've got to cut him a little bit of slack, Sam Reid. He's still a young player in relative terms.
Well, I reckon he's heading down to defence at the moment, Sam Reid, and that's probably because of the damage the tools are doing for Hawthorn. 9 goals from Gunston, Ruffhead and Franklin, so I reckon Reid's going to play in defence for this second half.
And I reckon that's a good move. Get him back there, get his confidence up. Ryan O'Keefe's going to start as a permanent forward, it looks like. We know he played that for the majority of his career. He's been an All-Australian half forward. Jesse White is going to start forward. There's Buddy Franklin, who was also very, very good the first half, kicked 3 goals, but this is where they're struggling to me. They can't get through centre-half forward. Jude Bolton's going to play like a medium-sized centre-half forward.
Well, they've put Malcheski up onto the wing, so Lingy wanted to get him into the game. Maybe he can get some run and carry through the middle. They've had the 23 inside 50s, Sydney, but a lot of them have been really shallow entries tonight. They haven't been able to get the ball in deep and then lock it in there like they love to do. Hawthorn have been great at chopping them off.
All right, time to get this second half of footy underway. Hawthorn by 40 points. We know Sydney are a quality team. The reigning premiers would be thinking that 40 points is very achievable if they can play some good footy.
So John Longmire sent Sam Reid into defence, and Hawthorn, there's Luke Hodge. He's decided, no, I'm not going to allow that. He went straight down and manned him up. Alistair Clarkson saying, we're going to keep playing one-on-one.
Sam Mitchell, the clearance out of the middle, goes long and deep. Punch away there from Mattner. Roughead again. There's another example of that sharp handball, although putting Hill under some pressure this time.
His hands have been great tonight, Ruffy.
Yeah. There's Jetta. They struggled with the space here tonight. I know they won a grand final here, and you know everyone knows they play well at the SCG, but the open spaces, they struggled a little with that.
Well, the record at the MCG, that sounds stupid. They won the grand final down here last year, but they don't play a lot of games at the MCG, the Sydney Swans.
This being the first since the grand final last year. On average, I think they average 1 a year here. So O'Keefe to Jude Bolton, and back to Richards. Had to bend for it though, and didn't have a lot of time to develop something he liked. Lake was in front, one of the free. Mitchell. Really, really high ball, which Melcheski clobbers, and it's helped over by McGlynn.
Only won 2 of their last 16 games at the MCG. One of them at grand final.
Yeah, and the other was back against Richmond in 2009, I think. History says they don't travel all that well. Nice to have the premiership in amongst that, though. Buddy Franklin flick to Hodge, went the spiral, mungled it into the pocket. And
he had nothing to go to there. That's a smart kick by Luke Hodge.
And Darcy was spot on about Reid. He had to play all the way up the ground then on Hodge. You can't let Luke Hodge go, so they had to respect him. He couldn't sag off and get that extra number, which they're trying to do. Very smart play by the Hawks.
Hale in front, palm down, sent it backwards. Kennedy was there, good, sharked it in the end and out of trouble momentarily, though Duray picks it up. Game's a difficult one to Brad Sewell, who's clobbered immediately by Kieran Jack. Adam Goods, you can see there, playing game 326 tonight. Moves past Jason Ackermanis and Ian Nankervis on the all-time list. He's now outright 24th for games played in the middle of your picture there, Adam Goods. 326.
Buddy Franklin's come up and got involved. There's Richard Collis, who's standing down at the end of this year.
Yeah, longest serving president, Richard Collis. What tenure has been? Securing 2 premierships.
20th year for Collis.
Oh, how good was Hodge there?
Smith to Hill to Hodge, and Hodge out wide. This is beautiful Hawthorn play. Stratton deep. Hurd and Bruce marks well within range.
There's Luke Bruce, and a bit of a Bruce. Cool goes out around the MCG. Let's have a look at Luke Hodge's hit. He's just been seeking bodies to hurt since the first bounce. And when he sees an opportunity, you stay hit with Luke Hodge. And you know you're feeling good. He's been restricted with his knee, but he's been hobbling around for 18 months. You can tell now that's behind him, and he can focus on what he does best. So that's just going as hard at the footy as anyone in the game.
So Luke Bruce, as I said, been the second best goal kicker at Hawthorn to Buddy Franklin since 2011. Not adding to the tally there.
And to add to Luke Hodge, talking to him quickly before the game in the car park, he mentioned he's 2 or 3 kilos lighter than his playing weight last year, and he's noticed that that's made a huge difference. He feels like he's covering the ground so much better, so much fitter, and recovering from games even better.
22 minutes of game time since the Swans have had any impact on the scoreboard, and they start brilliantly. Hodge, the skipper, nails one.
The boys are just pumping up Luke Hodge, and does the hard stuff, but still one of the best finishers in the game. That left foot, did it with ease from just inside 50. Luke Hodge, he's having a good night.
I think he was just talking about the captain, Luke Hodge, who kicked his first goal. He's the leading possession gatherer on the ground with 20. Lingy, you picked up about the 5-minute mark of the first quarter that Luke Hodge was coming off for 5 or 6 minute spells. Have they continued to do that across the game?
They have done it at least once a quarter. He spent a fair chunk on the bench. He's come off a couple more times for the quick breaks, but they're trying to keep him fresh, trying to make sure he has a real impact on the game and has that power in his legs.
Here's Roughhead. Through the legs, going that good, party tricks are on for Rough. Hodge, quick little kick around the corner, Armstrong there.
He's done a lot of that tonight, Ruffy. That was smart again. Knew that he couldn't take possession.
He's another AFL player with a basketball background. It shows so many of the superstar players now played a lot of junior basketball, and you see that crossover in the 2 sports a lot.
I think Joe Watson did as well. He's one of the best clearance players.
Scotty Pendlebury was an elite junior basketballer.
Definitely helps with your work in traffic if you're a good junior basketballer.
And the reason for that is that basketball, you are making decisions every second of the game. You are continually making decisions, and that's what our game's about today, isn't it?
Yeah.
With all the traffic around. They are very good at being poised as well and seeing opportunities, basketballers.
I wonder if Ruffy was a state basketballer like you, BT.
Probably didn't reach the heights of myself, Richo. Now that you mention that, I didn't want to let that be known to anyone. But
why did you write it down on a bit of paper for us? Then if you didn't
the fact that I was looking at the 18s and 21 squad as well. But here's Duray, got one high. Yes, representatives Western Australian basketball and footy.
Did you?
Same year.
Just down in the low post, were you?
No, I was a bit of a three-point wizard. Saw Jordan Roughhead with his Michael Jordan-like fadeaway goal in that first quarter. There's Gibson.
Bit of Reggie Miller about you.
Oh, yeah. Gunston, who's been lively here tonight. Underestimated in his height, I think Richo said. He's taller than he looks, Gunston.
He's 6'4".
6'4".
193, Jack Gunston.
Sure. Run like a hare. Bird to McVeigh. McVeigh very deliberately with a really good kick to White.
Yeah, he could not get a better kick there. As a leading...
Next one.
Here's the free kick. Yeah, just caught him high there, Gibbo.
I'll tell you when. He's right on it.
As a leading forward, they're actually the best passes, those ones, where you can slide down low on your knee. Gives the defenders absolutely no hope of spoiling.
First game for White this year. His first opportunity for a goal. He is directly in front. Will have to kick it 50 metres. Punt road end. No wind to speak of, and he's yanked it left. Just wonder whether we're seeing the best of Jesse White now or whether there's a lot of improvement to come. What do you reckon, Dars?
Well, it's an interesting player, Brian. I was thinking just that as you raised the question. He was floated as potentially a trade for Kurt Tippett to the Adelaide Crows. And you look at him, he's a powerful unit, he's incredibly athletic, can take a big mark, but he just doesn't get involved in the play enough.
Here's Melcheski, gets a look, and he puts it across the front as well. He's been emergency every game this year. Obviously, his first game tonight.
The problem for me is that when he's not getting the footy, he's not doing enough off the ball to warrant his spot in the side. I haven't seen him really apply a lot of defensive pressure or bust open a pack or just show some real energy in the game. He's been missing in action. Shields too. The very swift moving Hill. Brewster's hanging around over the back. He's just waiting for an opportunity to pounce. Richards did well, but he wanted Richards to stand up again there, Smith, and he didn't. Now they turn it over. Bruce. Play on, says the umpire. So it's doing the right thing, Matner, and rushing the behind.
Gee, there's some good forward pressure there. Sydney had the numbers and looked as if they'd be able to clear that ball, but just great pressure by Bruce.
I know they haven't lost the game by any means at the moment, the Hawks, but when you watched Geelong last night and you see Hawthorn here tonight, what are you thinking, Richo?
Yeah, look, they look very disciplined tonight. They've broken down the Swans game beautifully, Hawthorn, and they've had as tough a draw as any team. Look like they're going to win this game tonight. 6-1. Geelong, of course, beat them.
I know the Cats are undefeated, Bristol, and they are going to be right amongst it on their way to another grand final. But I still think this team is the most talented team in the competition, Hawthorn. I think if they play at their best, I still think they're the number one side. Throw Cyril Rioli back in to the lineup.
When do they play Geelong again? That's going to be some sort of clash.
Well, speaking of Hawthorn's draw, they've played the 7 finalists from last year, and if they eventually go on and win tonight's game, to have a 6-1 record against those 7 finalists is just incredible. Sets up their year unbelievably.
Yeah, they play the Cats again in round 15 back here at the MCG. They lost to Geelong in round 1. Lee by 7 points, their only loss of the year, and they are in just the best shape, Hawthorn.
And Jack just bowling over Jordan Lewis, and Parker eventually got it forward. There's Gunston again, a little no-looker over the front, which was worked to the boundary by Stratton. So, Lingy, you had a really good look at the Cats last night, and you're watching the Hawks here tonight. You know them back to front. What are you thinking?
I still rate Hawthorn as the best team in the competition. Their scoring potency is just incredible, as we've seen tonight, and their work around the footy. When they're intense, that man there, Luke Hodges, around the footy, they are as good, if not better, than any team in the comp at winning the crucial contest.
Thank you. Thanks, Zach. Just right here, mate. Thank you.
There's McGlynn. Maybe just within range. And McGlynn, he doesn't go for the goal, and he put it into space. It was a really good kick. Boy, I reckon Kennedy in the end probably should have gone in front of Goods, and Goods should have protected his back.
Speaking of Adam Goods, sorry, Richard, we've been given access tonight by the Sydney Swans to his GPS data. He's currently won 9.2 kilometres, 1.4 of that at sprinting pace. So Just a really good example of how hard the modern player works.
Virtual to Burgoyne. Burgoyne now to Lake. Could have gone to Sewell and kicked it out of bounds on the full instead.
Yeah, you're 41.
So no inroads being made here at the moment by the Swans. And they have not kicked a goal since the 13-minute mark of the second quarter. And here we are now, almost at that time in the third. McGlynn will give them a chance to do so.
Relying on Benny McGlynn to take marks inside 50 is a good lead. Not his normal role, though.
No, the wee man getting up there. So Sydney need to get things ticking here. Must be the start of something for them. Difficult angle, just inside left post, I would think. Straight at the post, and not enough. It is unusual, Lingy, because there's absolutely no wind out there tonight. It's the most benign of nights, isn't it?
Oh, it's superb out here. These are as good a conditions as you'd ever play in. Just dead still, beautiful night for footy.
Interesting with crowds between these two sides as well. I mean, 55,000 semi-final 2011. Really, they don't draw big crowds at this venue for home and away games. I mean, there'd probably be 55 here tonight, I'd say, pushing 60, but
we know the South Melbourne City Swans are alive and well as Pilpolo drops one, has enough time to go back and get it. They turn out in mass on grand final day, but
99,000 last year for that game.
We'd probably get a little bit, what's the word I'm after? We're so used to big crowds in footy, aren't we, that 50,000 we maybe think's an underachievement. Still a massive amount of people in this great Coliseum on a Saturday night.
What about the fact we're into round 7 before we see the grand final replay? Do you think it should be the opening round of the year, Dars?
I can understand why that you can make a strong case for that, but the draw has got inequities right throughout it, and it's such a
complicated.
Yeah, absolutely. There's so many permutations that have to go into it. They should play twice a year. At least that is happening, and will always happen. So I think, given what it is, they probably get it as good as they can.
Here's Hodge getting off the bottom of the pack and asking the umpire, please. Simon Meredith just goes on with his work. Once again, Hodge with the clearance. Has Hill in a bit of traffic, needs to get rid of it. He did, but he threw it, the umpire said.
Seen Bradley Hill a lot tonight, but he's another really exciting player for the Hawks. Cyril Rioli's out for an extended period with a hamstring, but he's done a great job for the side tonight. He's made sure Lewis Jetta, who's found a bit of the footy, but we haven't seen Jetta take 3 or 4 bounces and run like he did on grand final day, because that man Bradley Hill for most of the game has been right alongside him.
McVeigh, Chisler over the top, and Jude Bolton gets on the end of this. And he will line up for goal, plays on immediately, goes back inside and finds McGlynn this time. Same distance out as the last, except the opposite side, just on Jude Bolton. Game 308 for him tonight. Moves past Tim Watson on the all-time list. Now outright 44th games played. And there he is, with McGlynn lining up in the bottom right. 9 minutes remaining in the third quarter. No goals since the 13-minute mark of the second quarter, and McGlynn finally nails one for Sydney.
He's a dangerous forward, Benny McGlynn. He finds space inside forward 50 as well as anyone. Always presents up at the football. Gave Jude Bolton a target inside. Nice finish.
Swans have only kicked 5 goals in this game tonight. 3 of them by former Hawks. 2 to Ben McGlynn and 1 to Josh Kennedy. So Luke Hodge getting
a deep heat.
Yeah.
Go on, Richo. Go with it. Now the middle. Look at this. Puopolo runs away with the footy. Went a little too short for my liking. Looking for Gunston. Went and got it again. Look at the little man. Bust out of the pack. Around the corner. Ball smothered. Hanbury now. Stolen by Birchall. He's a good kick. Birchall lines him up and misses to the right. Pretty serious goal umpire there. Luke Walker and Dan Wilson doing the job tonight with the big sticks at each end. Don't often mention the goal umpires task, but I feel they deserve a mention.
They're your mates, Bristol. You've been regular down at training.
Train with them occasionally. Matner.
How's your mate Barrel Boy going, Bristol? Is all okay there? Or?
Pete Nastasi, no, he's doing the VFL at the moment. The Barrel Boy. He's just trying to work his way back in. Here's Goods. Goods in the middle of the ground. Long ball. Troublemaker Das. Off hands. Mitchell was there. One out. Umpire said play on. Duray was there. Bolton knocks it out. Pike hanging around. Here's McGlynn again. Stratton flicks it out of his hands.
Getting it at 7 of the last 9 inside 50s, Sydney Swans. They need to convert, though. They need to get some scoreboard pressure on.
Sneak another one here. Sydney, just open it up a little bit. Burgoyne senses the boundary was the better option under that sort of pressure, and Lewis deliberately did not take possession there. Knew he would have been pinned in the tackle.
Keep that meter, please, guys. Keep that meter.
Keep the meter apart, says the umpire, until the ball leaves the boundary umpire's hands, and then you can come together. Kennedy, stolen, just had the one-hander work. A beautiful kick to the advantage of Bird. Bird around the corner. Here's Goods now. Goods and Gunston. Gunston did well.
Brian Lake, that was actually Bristol.
Brian Lake, I'm
I
sorry.
understand why you call him that, because he looks like a totally different player.
He does. He looks
He's lost so
absolutely
much weight.
thin.
I thought the same thing.
Boy. Duray now. Goods has another go. Gibson got him right in the ankle, I reckon. Ball off hand, spills out of bounds. Gibson has a look and says, give me a break.
Geez, he did that well, though, didn't he, Brian Lake? I thought Adam Goods was going to take that ball on the lead, but always plays the ball on its merits.
Well, that's a dangerous move from Adam Goods. You hate to highlight an incident. Brad Sewell gets a free kick. But
Did he not take the legs from under?
No, they're going to have a look at that. Particularly given Gibson's got up sore. It was just a dangerous action. If it was in soccer, you'd be looking at a yellow card for that. That's almost a leg chop.
Smith got reported once in his career for kneeing, was it?
But yeah, I don't think there's a lot of malice in Adam Goods. He's just so competitive an individual, and I don't think he was any bad will or intention, but that's dangerous. You know, you kick your leg out in that situation. Look, in that angle, it probably looks as though he's just overstrided.
I think he was trying to even kick the ball.
Yeah, maybe I've been a little bit harsh, but just a dangerous action, that.
Messing around the fringes, should he be reported or not, Das?
Well, the first angle I looked at, I thought it was a leg chop, and yes. Second angle, it looked like maybe benefit the doubt. So
still on the fence. What about you, Richo? Have you got an opinion?
Well, on that last angle, I thought he tried to kick the football, so I don't think he'll be in any trouble.
Malcheski off half back for Sydney, gives them some run. Weighted kick to Hanbury.
He did get done for rough conduct last year at that slide. I think it was over in Adelaide early last season.
There's John Longmire, Alastair Clarkson. He's never comfortable. Have a look at him. He's always got something that he wants to operate a little bit better.
And yelling instructions, I'm not sure they're hearing him, but someone in the box will be delivering the message as Kennedy steps around. 2 in a row for the Sydney Swans.
Oh, what a great clearance player. Kennedy. He's kicked 2 goals. Clarko's filthy. Wasn't happy. I don't reckon he was happy with that clearance. Kennedy was allowed to waltz through that stoppage, the most dangerous clearance player in the Swans team. So he wouldn't be happy, Clarko, and he certainly wasn't.
So Kennedy got onto it at the stoppage, as Richo pointed out. Reduced the margin to 35 points.
Just got goal side of Brad Sewell there.
Dr. Peter Larkins.
Yeah, Josh Gibson very unhappy about Adam Goods' action. He's off at the moment having that sore shin looked at, and he's not happy with what happened.
Okay, almost a little throw out there to Mitchell. Mitchell now goes to half forward. Shields, that's caught clean. Good tackle, Armstrong's away. Goes inside, just the one hand there for Hanbury, perhaps 2. He's caught. An incorrect disposal. The two hands would be better. Here's the long striding Isaac Smith. Roughhead gets a clean run. He's marked everything tonight. Now at the ground level, Rough. Did he get met high? He had his head over the ball, trying to pick it up off the ground. He is furious. He shakes his head in disbelief. And this man here, along with Fags, boy, are they not happy with each other?
No, you reckon it doesn't get a hit into the box. Chris Fagan's going, hey, Clarko, just settle down, mate. Hey, not much I can do about it here. I love Alistair Clarkson. He is just all
Chris Fagan was the whipping boy then, wasn't
all big time.
Oh, boy. Look at Hodges poised to hail. Just as Sydney were mounting a mini challenge, Hale has a chance to spoil it.
Just half a metre this way, mate.
Intense. Alistair Clarkson.
How good Luke Hodge tonight. He's just been sensational. 27 disposals, kicked the goal, contested possessions. His physical presence on the ground tonight has been a standout.
So Hale got the whistle. I'm not sure the whistle's necessary. As he comes in, good-looking kick, very, very straight. He likes his work. Hawthorn get their second of the quarter.
Big Haley, he's pretty happy with his work. They've been able to stretch them tonight. Big boys have got down. Hale, Max Bailey's kicked the goal as well.
So 2 goals apiece here in the third quarter, back out to 41 points. The last 10 goals there, Hawthorn featuring prominently in those. Here he is, the new ruck rover, Jared Roughhead, slid it. Lewis got it in deep, over the head of Franklin. Here's Gunston around the outside, spun out of trouble. The handball was a little too firm for Max Bailey.
How good's the pickup from Gunston there? As we've highlighted a few times tonight, he's a lot taller than you think, and to get down, a great ground level ball by Jack Gunston. There's that 2 ruckman again at the stoppage, Bailey and Hale that time.
I think they've struck gold tonight, Richo, with Jared Roughhead playing him in the centre. It's really freed him up. He gets involved in the play, and then he is able to push hard forward as well. They get the advantage of having his big frame around the contest, but I reckon as a forward, it just gives him a bit of space.
Jetta really burst off the scene, and now Josh Gibson back out there now after that clash with Goods. I'm sure there'll be a bit talked about that after the game and throughout the week.
Yeah, well, there's everyone on Twitter are talking about it, so see what comes of it.
Bailey back in the path of Jared McVeigh, immediately off to Jude Bolton. Jude Bolton kicks over the head of O'Keefe. Gibson at the back once again, never lets the ball get over the back, Gibson.
Gee, he's been good, Gibson.
Yep.
Him and Lake down there, just 2 smart defenders.
The hands of Goods. Did well. The give and go for Stratton, and now onto a real ball carrier. And a good kick in Birchall, although that time dropped by Richards. Puopolo, he's like Popeye, full of spinach. Now to Birchall, left foot back in. Here's Hale. John Longmire turns to his team in the box and says, what do we do now, boys?
Well, the tall forwards have just been dominant inside 50 tonight. They've got 3 or 4 targets down there, which makes all the defenders honest. They can't sag off their direct opponent. When you've got 3 or 4 marking options, it gives everyone a chance to get one-on-one.
20 seconds gone.
Hale lining up for his second consecutive goal. Once again, that whistle annoying the player kicking the goal. Unnecessary. He's got it. So Hawthorn very much back in control now. 47.
He's having a good night, big David Hale. It was a great centre, though, by Birchall. He could have blazed away, did the team thing, put it into a dangerous spot, and big fella finishes it off. This is Chris Fagan and Al Clarkson. Looks a little bit more relaxed now, Clarko.
Has the relationship just simmered a little? Chris Fagan now just talking gently to try and calm Clarko down. Just breathe, Clarko, breathe. We're 47 up, coach. I've got things under control. Jude Bolton.
Look at the anticipation of Hodge down there. Reads the play so well.
Oh, Roughhead has just been electric tonight. Kick not so good. Armstrong, the interceptor. He's a boy out of Assumption College via the footy factory at the Calder Cannons. Thanks to Ian Kite. Now the ball very much in dispute. Locked in. It'll stay in and ball up.
What a game he's having, Hodgie. 28 disposals. Not even three-quarter time.
Zach Smith. Tackled to the ground by McGlynn. Sure, he disposed of it. Here's Stratton. Little iffy one to Gibson. He was able to tidy it up, Gibbo. Really well done, Smith. Mitchell again. Mitchell looking for a runner from behind. Got it to the left foot of Gibson. Bit of a helicopter inside and Melcheski. So a minute 12 remaining in the third quarter as O'Keefe takes the mark on the wing.
Just watching Osborne now chase Malcheski. He's going to try and get the handball received there off O'Keefe, but Osborne with him every step of the way. One of the reasons they're 47 points up. He's done a great job on Malcheski.
Jesse White again competing with Lake there, who I've got a little mixed up with Gunston tonight. He looks so skinny. The Hawthorn hairdo. Here is Goods. Gets an easy ball. Very unselfishly over the top to Parker. And Sydney score their third goal of the quarter. And just nearing three-quarter time, they get it back to a 41-point margin.
Yeah, smart play, Adam Goods. Just put it into Parker's path in the goal square and just dribbled it through. I reckon you launch a torpy into the top deck from there. You don't just dribble it through. What do you reckon, BT? You would have torpedoed that into the top deck, I reckon. Or do you just dribble it through?
Well, that's what I would have done, Richo.
What would you have done?
Torped it up.
Yeah, you've got to torp it up the top deck every time.
Either that or a drop kick.
Can you pick the two head-wobbling full forwards? I'm sitting alongside Lingy.
Listen to the full forwards. They just want a bit of me time, a bit of a big torp into the stands, and everybody look at me sort of stuff.
What are we dealing with on a Saturday night here?
Unbelievable.
It's just, I'm sick of hearing about Lingy and his leadership role at Geelong. How he conjured up the 3 premierships, so he tells us off there.
Lingy would add you out the back door very quickly, Bruce, with some of the stuff you carry on with.
I would have enjoyed peer assessing, BT. Don't worry about that.
Rampy down the throat of Gunston. Little one back to Hale. 12 seconds here. And once again, it's been a good quarter for the Hawks. Really held Sydney when they needed to. That was the quarter they were going to challenge. 3 goals apiece in that quarter. 41-point Hawthorn lead here at three-quarter time. Hawthorn lead 14-6-90. Sydney 7-7-49. Superb stuff. And here we are at three-quarter time. Hawthorn by a massive 41 points, 14-6-90 to Sydney 7-7-49. Now the story so far of this game, it was a fast-starting Buddy Franklin that got Hawthorn off. It had been 2 weeks on the trot that he hadn't kicked the goal, and here he is with the first and third goals of this first quarter here tonight. They kicked 5 in a row, the Hawks, to lead it early by 28 points. And then in the second quarter, Jared Roughhead, who has been really in sparkling form here tonight. He's played as a midfielder through the middle. He's gone forward. He has done it all. And by the way, he's enjoyed his own good work. Have a look at that. He looks sprightly, and he has been very impressive. And of course, there's skipper Luke Hodge. What a game he's played so far by leading possession. Get a 28 touches in the third quarter. He owned it. He's owned the whole game. He is the best man on the ground.
Been an impressive performance so far from the Hawks. Let's get down to Cameron Ling. The Swans have activated their sub-Lingy.
They certainly have, Das. Jed Lamb in his second game has come on the ground. Marty Matney, you can see there, he's the man with the red vest, subbed off.
There you go. It's interesting one. Marty Matner Hasn't had his usual run and carry across half-back, but probably a bit of a surprise to me. I thought he was far from their worst player.
Start of the final quarter here, Hawks by 41 points. So the sub is Jed Lamb, second game, he comes on. Hawthorn to the left of screen in this final quarter, the front road end, the MCG.
And BT, look for Hawthorn to really go for the throat here. They've still got those feelings bottled away. Nothing ever replaces a grand final loss, but they'll want to make sure they absolutely smash the Swans.
Absolutely. Kennedy has been impressive for Sydney with 25 touches of the footy as well. But this man here, Hodge, just ripped it apart.
That's the most exciting thing for me tonight, is just seeing how well the skipper's playing, how well he's moving. PCL surgery, which a long recovery, he's flying.
Kick deep inside for Hawthorn, and somehow Hale, who was the third deepest of all of the players, then marked.
It's like a reverse Samson. He doesn't need the hair. He got rid of the hair hat, and he's playing better than he's ever played.
Yeah, you see Grundy there. He thought Pike was going to influence that and didn't go up with Hale. And the big fella, he's kicked 2 goals late in that third quarter.
So here is Hale. Once again, that annoying whistle as the players coming in to kick the goal. It's just completely unnecessary. Wish they wouldn't do it. Just blow the whistle and say play on. They run out of time. Here's Hale. Kicks his third goal of the game.
Well, dangerous player, David Hale. Very good overhead. Does the job in the ruck, and see him there on screen. He's worked really, really well tonight. Played a lot forward. 3 goals is a very nice return. David Hale, BT, saw him kick a big bag of 8 on Matty Scarlett down at Geelong one day. And you don't do that unless you can play or play as a forward. He's just about in his career best form at the moment.
4 Hawks now with 3 goals apiece. Here's Osborne. Very unselfishly centering ball, tried to get it across into the path of Gunston. And that's the young man Lamb who's come onto the ground as the sub.
They've now got 3 goals out of each of their 12 forwards tonight. Gunston, Hale, Ruffhead and Franklin. That's
Former president there, Jeffrey Kennett, with his wife Felicity, just on the left. Still loves the Hawks. Kennedy, the carry here from Goods, stuck it into open field. Now Reid, who's had a really quiet night, gives it over the top to McGlynn, who's looked like he's going to score at various times throughout the night. But in the end, the 3-on-2 for the Hawks is too good for Sydney. And Gunston protects the drop zone of the ball. Once again, the little push off is allowed, and that's the way it should be.
Chick Gibson's been good tonight down back as well.
Of course, in our feature in the lie detector, Josh Gibson said he was a better looking bloke than Buddy. He admitted that.
He did.
Which is interesting.
Sean Burgoyne just ran off the ground then, and the handball was going to him over the top. He had no idea. He just missed out in the possession there.
They're so focused on getting off the ground these days instead of getting footy. They spend more time running off, I reckon, players than actually running to get the footy. Mitchell with a funny, unorthodox little handball out the back door then. Disguised it beautifully. Probably was a throw, but umpire's never going to ping him on that. So cute it was. It's the man you speak of, Richo.
Played a great game, done his job defensively, but mopped up as well. 22 disposals.
Look at the way Stratton's manning the mark there. Still like it's the first minute of the game. Cut off once again by Gibson. Gives it to the run of the skipper. And he just bullets one down the side. Beautiful mark was eventually paid there by Grundy. And now Reid. Too far out to score for Reid.
Back, that's it. Yep,
Keith went the pocket. It's not the spot. And now Good stands. Garoppolo couldn't cut it off.
Which I want to have a chat to you about Sam Reid in a minute when we get a bit more time. playing his 53rd game of AFL football at the moment. He's in a bit of a horror patch of form. I want to ask you what he can do. As Goods chips this one short, and he's found the sub, that is.
Noticed him a few times tonight. He had the opportunity to probably go fly for marks, and he didn't even go. And I reckon that means you're down on confidence. If you can mark as well as him, he just needs to get himself as many contests as he can and back himself in. But I've noticed he stayed down a couple of times tonight, and he's just got to go for his marks. Beautiful set of hands.
So Jed Lamb, for his first goal in football, from 48 metres out, drifting right. I think it might have just got there. It is. The young man's got his first.
It's nice. First goal in league footy.
Do you remember your first goal, Richo?
Yes, I do. Good. I was playing on Danny Frawley, actually.
Oh, everyone seems to kick their first goal on Spud.
You know, when I played on Danny Frawley my first game, I think I did the same thing. It's a true story.
That man there, Adam Goods, tonight, along with Bolton tonight, playing in the same team for the 296th time. Only Tyson Edwards and Andrew McLeod, two blokes who didn't even speak to each other, have played together more often at 307 times. And there he is, on cue. What about that? All those games together and they didn't speak, Richo. How is that possible? There's Gibson.
He was about 150 games in before they stopped speaking to each other. They actually used to get on pretty well for a while. But
Boys, the Hawks have made their sub as well. Bradley Hill subbed off. Jonathan Simpkin is the man who's subbed on, formerly on the Sydney Swans list, of course, drafted there, and spent a bit of time at the Cats as well.
Okay, nice work, Lingy. That was that deft little touch there to Bruce from Roughhead. He's done that all night, Rough. Bruce gets another one, and this time tries to get it back inside in the path there of the sub who Lingy was just telling us about, Simpkin. Bird, but more desperate was Bruce. Now, did he take the feet? No, the umpire rightly played the shoulder. Good call.
Here's Ruffy. He's going to get this. That's great. Adam Goods was his direct opponent there. Couldn't man him up in time.
So he's looking for his fourth goal, Big Rough. He'll like this angle.
Thanks, mate.
We've spoken about how well Luke Hodge has been covering the ground tonight. Ruffy is absolutely flying. He's running around like he's...
Just looked light on his legs, Lingy.
Yeah, he has. Incredible. It's great to see. It's great to see he's got the confidence to push forward, to play in the middle of the ground. Love watching Ruffy play.
Big Rough, in he comes. A little close to the man on the mark that time. It just scared him off to the left as a result. Didn't judge it. That's why you always see the players ask the umpire, where's the mark? Because they need to judge their run-up. Chesky.
One of the more popular players in the game, I reckon, Big Ruffy. He's liked by opponents and everyone. He's just got that look about him. Laid-back country boy from Leongatha.
Took him back to Leongatha as part of a tour we did last year, teaching young kids to play football, and he was the king of Leongatha. There's McVeigh to Jude Bolton.
Played for the Parrots down there. Are they called the Parrots? The Leongatha Parrots?
Not sure, but he was well known. In fact, there wasn't anyone that didn't know him. Richo was on that tour, and he was very popular, Richo, wasn't he?
Ruffy, oh, he's a likeable character, as Das just said.
In comes Bolton, hammers it straight through the middle, a fair bit of left to right drift. But they've got a couple in a row. Back to a 36-point margin here now in favour of the Hawks.
Always just find a way, the Swans, not to get smashed. They never, ever concede. Hasn't been their night tonight. They've still chipped away.
There he is. Look at him. He's still looking around, asking questions. Who's got who? And still the attention to detail is great.
Bristol, I've been watching him closely tonight, Luke Hodge, because he's been the best player on the ground. He never, ever stops talking, instructing, pointing.
Sydney.
So he's played a free kick against Jesse White
Free kick
here.
to Sydney.
Has he?
It's gone the other way.
I think he's going to pay the almost the tunnelling.
Ball now. Goods to injure himself on kicking that footy. Jude Bolton free here.
I saw you get him high.
I saw you get him high, he says to Sam Mitchell.
Let's have a look at this. Max Bailey's goes on the footy, jumps up for the ball, and
Why is that against
Tunnelling, would it be?
no, paid it the other way.
Paid it to White, though.
Okay. Bolton comes in, misses.
What would that have been? Das is a ruckman.
What they're saying is that perhaps he went up and down before the ball had made contact with the ball. So have a look at this. He goes up and hits the ground and doesn't make contact with the ball. So it's probably why the free kick's paid.
Lake. Milcheski off hands. McVeigh. Nice little ball to McGlynn, who's provided a little bit up forward and around the ground for them tonight, McGlynn.
There's a reason why we all admire Sydney so much. They just keep coming. They're down on the scoreboard comfortably, but they just keep fighting right to the very end. They never, ever give up in a game of footy.
So McGlynn from right on 50 came off the mark. The umpire called play on and just missed to the right-hand side.
And Lee, looking at the Hawthorn side tonight, I get the feeling that they're a big improver from last year. Brian Lake, fit and firing, to me, adds a lot to this side. Luke Hodge, fit and firing, unrestricted from his knee. I reckon they are a significantly better team than they were last year.
Yeah, I agree with you, Das, and that's a scary thought for the opposition teams because they were a very good team last year, but I agree, they've stepped up again. You add Ruffy to that as well, improving again. Very good Hawthorn outfit.
Jude Bolton launched himself early.
They're not relying on Franklin. Franklin, 2 quiet games, kicked 3 tonight, but hasn't been dominant. And they're getting the job done, so that's a positive as well, really.
Actually, they love getting into the hands of Birchall. Here's Birchall to Roughhead, who snuck on the ground. Funny little stubby kick. He got it back. That's why he did it. He wanted the give and go, and he overcooked it on his right, but able to hold his ground off hands. Lewis around the corner. Really good kick. Was it touched on the line? It's there. He thinks it's a goal. Goal umpire agrees.
A nice finish from Jordan Lewis. Hasn't had a massive night, Jordan, the 15 disposals, but hang on, they're going to have a look at it, I think.
Says it's a goal, but he wants to double check it's a goal. I believe it's a goal. Yep. What did you say?
Somehow in the break, the umpires have got to bear that and a score review.
Are you 100% sure? Well, I believe the ball crossed the line. Okay. And again? Yeah. My initial instinct was that it was touched. How did you see? I saw the ball on the line and I believe it was touched. Okay, no worries. We'll go with the touch ball.
If these guys are short, well, we've got to go with the big line.
So one goal umpire is saying it was over the line and the other saying it was touched.
We believe the ball is now touched. Thank you.
Review underway.
So I'm just going to go through the process. Just going to go through the process. Boundary umpires are on as well.
This is staggering. They've completely balls this up. There's no doubt about it. The goal umpire, the male goal umpire, he thinks it's a goal. The boundary umpires come in and say, I reckon it's maybe touched. Now they're going to the score review with the benefit of the doubt being a touch ball rather than a goal.
Okay.
Took them almost a minute to call for this review.
Wait.
And looks like it's touched there.
Review completed, inconclusive, umpire's call.
The goal umpire thought it was a goal.
But the boundary umpires thought it was a point.
Review completed, inconclusive, umpire's call.
So the umpires aren't hearing this. Now there's a problem with the communication here. The
Review
umpires,
completed, inconclusive, umpire's call.
they are not hearing the audio here, the umpires.
Touch ball. I'm going to get you another score.
No, that's wrong.
Oh, this is... But the problem is, the umpire's call, the best bloke on the spot was the goal umpire who thought it was a goal.
He called that a goal originally.
Yeah, no, you got another score. Go for it. Just get another score first.
I've totally mucked this up. That man there was in the best position. He clearly signalled the goal. The boundary umpire, we'll go back and listen to the audio again. The boundary umpire thinks he might have touched it, so they've gone to the umpire's score. The umpire's decision, it's wrong. Have a listen to the Hawthorn cheer squad, what they're chanting behind the goals.
That talk took them almost a minute to call for that review then.
It's meant to go to the original decision. The goal umpire called it a goal. It has to be
And he had no doubt in his mind at all.
But the boundary umpire said it was a behind.
But it's not his call, Brian.
No, but I think, well, it is. If they
wasn't
convinced the
conclusive.
goal umpire, I think both boundary umpires came in and said it was
No, it
touched.
didn't. It was the one boundary umpire came and said, I think maybe my view when I've been asked is that it was touched.
Yeah, but he asked the other boundary umpire as well, and they may have gone the 2-on-1 there, 2 against 1.
Jeez, all right.
That's the way I read it.
Not giving them the benefit of the doubt there. The man a metre away, 100% his mind a goal. So you go back to the original decision.
The ball was
inconclusive.
The ball was back to the centre too, because the goal umpire thought it was a goal.
Sewell goes to Roughhead, who spins off his man. Did it well. He's been lively. Look at Big Rough. Look at Big Rough.
How good are his second efforts at the moment, Ruffy?
Not looked like Buddy tonight.
Yeah,
Ruffy.
his recovery at ground level tonight has been really good. They're not happy down there.
Well, look, it's probably not a lot of consequence in the game anyway, but it's about getting the system right.
Yeah, but imagine if that was a big, big moment in a game, in a close game.
Must have been the boundary umpires that come in initially and disputed the goal umpire's decision to.
That's what we're going to do, Brian. We're going to try and get it all up because my view of that was very different.
There's Isaac Smith. Thought about the handball, didn't run off his mark in the fake, and now finds Roughhead. So Roughhead comes in to extend the margin to 42 points, and he's got it. Big Rough.
So Roughhead pops that through. I'll tell you what we're going to do now. We're going to go back. Let's have a listen to all the available audio we've got in this very contentious score review that has been overruled. Have a listen to this. So no doubt at this stage it's a goal. We go back to the centre umpire signalled, everyone's celebrating. No problems. We're going to just push forward to when the umpire decides to get involved. And we'll come back to it. Just run out of time. We'll come back to the audio that's available.
Kennedy fighting with Shields. So 9 minutes left in the game. Hawthorn by 42.
Clear away, clear away. I need a metre, guys.
Pike pushes Hale out of the way. On to Jack. Jack on his left. Gets a clear look and finally got it to Jesse White.
Take the mark, take the mark.
Crowd of 54,725 people here tonight. Jesse White right behind him here. As he lines up, a little left, but it's a good kick. Distance is okay. Sydney have kicked 3 in the last.
All right, we're going to now go and have a look at it again. We just saw the original goal paid. Let's have a listen after the umpires get together and have a conference.
Says it's a goal, but he wants to double check it's a goal.
I believe it's a goal.
Yep. What did you say? Okay. On out. So, what do you think?
Absolutely sure.
Are you 100% sure?
Well, I believe the ball crossed the line.
Okay. And again?
My initial instinct was that it was touched.
How did you see?
I saw the ball on the line and I believe it was touched.
Okay, no worries. We'll go with the touch
Well,
ball.
if these guys are short, well, we've got to go with the big line.
No worries.
Goods.
We'll have
middle here to Jack. Jack gives it off and Sydney go forward again. This time McGlynn in front looking for the free. He bounced back up. Really lightning reflexes on the Goods. Goods with the left foot around the corner. 4 in the last quarter for Sydney. And got it back to 30 points here with 8 minutes remaining, Sydney.
Yeah, beautiful finish from Adam Goods across the body, and they just never go away, the Sydney Swans. There's still 5 goals down, but playing the game out to the end. I think with that score review before, the goal umpire believed it was a goal. He called a goal. It was inconclusive evidence, so it has to go back to the goal umpire's original decision, Das, doesn't
Just
it?
had a tweet from Tex Walker. He says, please, after the review tonight with Lewis, please can you sort it out? Either sort it out or get rid of it, says Tex Walker. He's listening at home tonight. We wish Big Tex all the best, by the way, with his recovery. So the bottom line is, Brian, mass confusion again with this system.
Yeah, I'm different because the goal umpire...
You are different. There's no question there.
I'm just stating my opinion, but the goal umpire called it a goal. The boundary umpire, who was in a really good position as well, called it a behind. He thought it was touch. So, you know, that's...
The umpire said to me 100% sure, and he couldn't
said yes.
say he was 100% sure.
I think he did.
But it's meant to go back to the original decision if it's conclusive, and it was called a goal by the goal umpire.
Yeah, that's before they'd conferred, though, Richo.
But he had the
before they
opportunity.
had challenged and got together.
The boundary had an opportunity to come in and say, hey, you've got this wrong. He didn't. He let it go back to the square. They came back for a conference afterwards. And
No, I think he did. I think during the break, the boundary umpire went to the umpire and said, I think there's a problem here. I've seen something different with the goal umpire.
I think go through it after.
I think if you boys are that confused, I think there's a few 100,000 people at home who are confused as well. But who knows?
Where are you at with the score review, Lingy? Do you think it works? Do you think it's time to look at something else? Or
I like it. I think there's a few things we need to tinker with to tidy it up a bit, but I'm pretty happy with it.
So Osborne marks on the wing. Red time in the last. Hawthorn by 30 points, as close as Sydney have been since the 22-minute mark in the second quarter. Right now. Armstrong upended in that contest. Rough hit again. Very, very easily outside to Osborne. And now ball in the pack won't come out of there.
54,725 in the house tonight, BT. Pretty strong crowd.
Yep. About right for these two teams. Overrun here. Buddy gets back and, gee, made a mess of that, Buddy. He wanted to kick it along the ground and he made contact with it in a sort of an awkward sense. He wanted to dribble it. And there's the penalty for not just kicking a standard drop punt or even a mongrel through the goals.
It's a strange ball drop, wasn't it, from Buddy?
Reid over the top. O'Keefe will run into the open goal. And they're back within 25 points here.
Oh, that was a beautiful kick into O'Keefe that went low, hard and fast. It got over the back to him and it's not going away. 25 points is... 6 minutes is a long time in AFL footy. You can score very quickly in that time. So a glimmer of hope for the Swans.
Here's the ball movement from the Sydney Swans, and Ryan, you're a man who's an eternal optimist. 25 points, enough time, not out of the question.
Jordan Lewis, long Bruce, nudges his man under the ball. The umpire says play on. Osborne's there. Little kick around the corner. Armstrong didn't protect the line and it's there.
Michael Osborne, very, very happy with that.
Deserves a goal, does, after the job, disciplined job he has done on Nick Malcheski.
Luke Bruce, that interesting. Worked him underneath the footy. Michael Osborne engaged in a bit of sledging in the VFL last week, I'm told, Brian, with Scotty McMahon from North Melbourne. And Scotty McMahon, I'm told, was giving it to him about the fact that he owns a slipwear label.
Pyjamas.
Pyjamas. And
that's what normal people call them, pyjamas.
Pajama label. And after the game, Michael Osborne decided, well, he's so interested in my pyjamas, I'll send him a whole bag full.
What a great mark by this guy here, Duray. Boy. And so he sent him the bag full of pyjamas and he wore them that night, I believe.
Told that's the case.
Unusual behaviour.
Great effort there from young Taylor Duray in only his 4th game.
Leave it on, please. Play on!
Hale sets himself in front, Bailey at the back, and now Richards at the back. The sub, Lamb there, happy to take it onto the Hawthorn bench and scatter the medical staff there.
Had 11 inside 50s tonight, Luke Hodge. Pretty happy if he's putting it inside 50 11 times. You're going to retain possession more than not.
Mitchell, really tough customer, and he felt the effects of that one. Might have given him a bit of an ear problem there, and I'm sure the Goods, or hurt his collarbone there, Sam Mitchell's shoulder. And Goods came back, actually gave him a pat on the shoulder, and I think he either said sorry or something, but got a little stinger, Mitchell. Seam to the right of frame here, McGlynn in the middle. Now Goods has found some space out wide, but the kick was a little behind him. Roughead over the back. Geez, recovery's been good tonight, Rough. Look at that. Like a fair dinkum bulldozer. It was really good. There is Mitchell. That kick wasn't his best. Stolen by Parker now. Parker kicks it straight to Gibson. Will need a good bounce. Reed's bearing down on him. Done really well tonight, Gibbo. Nice pick up from Lamb. Lamb comes in and misses after kicking his first goal in footy in this last quarter earlier on.
What about the power of Big Ruffy? Have a look at this. Kieran Jack comes in to lay the tackle. That's a wrestling move. He got underneath him and just dumped Kieran Jack off his shoulders. He has played sensationally well tonight, Big Ruff.
He's moving as well as he has for years. Remember, he had that Achilles a few years ago, and that takes a long time to get over. I reckon he's just getting back to his best physically now, Ruffy.
4 goals, 2 tonight. That's disposal number 23 for the Big Ruff.
Seems to have more freedom playing all over the ground, doesn't he?
Yeah.
Not just tied up as that forward end. In goes Grundy. Taken in the back half by the Hawks, and this is Shields.
Yeah, their inside 50 entries tonight have been pretty ordinary, the Sydney Swans. It says a lot about the pressure Hawthorn's put on them up the ground.
They have got some little worries though, Richard, I think, with Sam Reed's form. Is it super talent? It's great in the grand final last year, and there's no worries about where he's heading as a player, but when you're relying on a young centre forward like that so much, it's just a bit of a concern for them at the moment.
It really shows our point of view.
Sorry, Lingy.
I was about to say the exact same thing, I think, Richo, about getting Kurt Tippett back out on the ground for them, just to take away a little bit of that focus where he can get maybe the 2nd or 3rd best defender each week rather than the best one.
Hawthorn have scored 112 points here tonight, and it does appear that when the Swans lose by 100 points or more, they concede games. In fact, they've conceded their last 16 when the opposition have kicked over 100. Inside ball, beautiful touch by Bruce. Found Burgoyne, he run and played on, and a 36-point Hawthorn lead now.
That was beautiful.
Bruce, wasn't it, Richard?
Just put it into Burgoyne's path beautifully, unselfish. Such a classy player, Sean Burgoyne. Can play anywhere, go into the middle. He's played down back. Now he's finishing off with a goal.
So back out to 36-point lead. It was a 41-point Hawthorn lead at three-quarter time. Now 36. McVeigh, beautifully planned centre clearance out of the back. Gibson's spoil was brilliant. Jetta now was able to get on it, kicked it to space and found space here, Reed. But once Kane couldn't glove that mark, he was at full stretch. Hodge just bustling his way through. Through came his direct opponent, and Bolton gives it on to Kieran Jack. Kieran Jack around the corner, mark taken. in this goal square by Giray. Mitchell now.
A lot of footy in the back half of the ground tonight. Sam Mitchell started the game playing cross half back. As always, just gets the footy at will almost.
He and Hodge, the leading possession getters on the ground. Hodge with 32, Mitchell with 29. Melcheski, who's been a major reason for the Swans' successes. Turns it over to Stratton.
Yeah, they've done a bit of a number on Melcheski tonight. It's been Osborne who has been the man, kept him to just 11 disposals. They had to take him from the ground. They tried to put Melcheski on the wing.
So Hawthorn in the coming weeks have GWS, Gold Coast and Melbourne. What about that? After this bigger game against Sydney, they play GWS, Gold Coast and Melbourne, the three bottom sides. Hawthorn.
I wonder if they'll go down the path of Geelong.
Resting players?
I think they will. Such a long, hard season now. It's a perfect opportunity to do it. You'd freshen Buddy up at some stage. I think you'd manage Luke Hodge 1 week, even though he's flying. I think you'd look at maybe giving him a week spell somewhere in the middle there. And
Sydney have got a tough run. They play Fremantle, Collingwood and Essendon. So it's the opposite for them. This will be just the one loss for Hawthorn this year in round 1 against the Cats. Buddy from 55 needs to bend it right to left. That won't work. And those two have made up, I think.
A bit of separation between Chris Fagan and Alistair Clarkson. Copped a nice bake with Fags earlier in the game.
So down to the last half minute. As Josh Gibson's just played a ripper in defence. Sydney off half back. They're going to lose just their second game for the year. They too lost to Geelong in round 4 by 21 points. So it just seems that everyone loses to Geelong. Here's Sewell out of the middle. Buddy and Hale and Buddy. White able to run away with it, takes a bounce. They all just stand and watch, although Buddy gives chase and it won't make any difference. Hawthorn are now 6 wins and 1 loss, and impressive in doing so. It was a great game of footy and Hawthorn were brilliant. So was this man. Cameron Ling is with him, Jared Roughhead.
He certainly was brilliant, BT, mate. Running around like a midfielder, 26 possessions, kicking a few goals. What's going on?
Oh, mate, I couldn't tell you. I really don't know. It's good that I can get up the ground and have a bit of run around because my tank's not the best, but I mean, win like that, get a good first half in, just brilliant.
Does it help you when you are playing forward to have that bit of freedom just to push up the ground whenever you want?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, it helped last year with the ruck, but now with Maxie and Haley coming in, a bit of run around the guts doesn't hurt, and it's only 2 or 3 minutes, mate. I'm like an asthmatic turtle when it comes to fitness, so but just happy with the win, mate.
It was a fantastic win, wasn't it? You know how good Sydney are. Obviously, the last time you two played was a huge game of football, but just really pleasing to get a victory over them.
Yeah, that's right. I mean, 6-1 now with the season. Really sets us up going into the second half of the year and the break. Sorry, mate. But yeah, just great to get a win, and now GWS next Saturday.
Well done, Ruffy. Great job, mate.
Really interesting, isn't it? Because Brian Lake is definitely a few kilos lighter, and I've got to tell you that Jared Roughhead looks a couple of kilos lighter as well.
Yeah, you don't think that it's almost a new philosophy down there. Their fitness staff have decided to strip some kilos off, and they look great. Brian Lake, who I've seen play his whole career, he moved tonight as well as he's ever moved, and that's really exciting for them. That makes them a better side. Luke Hodge is trimmed down. He's absolutely flying. As you said, Ruff's a bit trimmer as well. Let's get back down to Lingy. I think he has the skipper with him, Luke Hodge.
I do have the skipper with me, Hodgie. Great to win, no doubt. I know it doesn't take away from last time you two played, but it's just good to get that little bit of a mental edge back on the Swans.
Oh, it's good to beat a quality side like Sydney. We knew if we won this, it would set up our season going in. I think what are we 6-1. So look, that was the main focus. We knew they were going to come back in that last quarter. We just had to hold on. So I thought we did a lot of the hard work in the first 3 quarters, and pleased to get off with a good win against a quality side. And yourself, 32 possessions in the game, but we were commenting throughout the game about how well you appear to be running over the ground. Is the body just feeling so much better? Yeah, it is. It's good. Being able to play from games fresh and being able to train throughout the week, the body's feeling good. So hopefully it's a long season. Hopefully it stays that way. And we just had a chat to your new midfielder, Jared Ruffhead. It's nice having him come into some centre bounces, have a real impact, and then go forward and kick 4 goals. I don't know what he's doing in there, but he runs his own shot. No, Ruffy's good. I think his versatility. He can play in the ruck, and then when he comes in, he's clean and obviously had a basketball background. So he's got some agility for a big man. He just referred to himself as an asthmatic turtle when he's running around. Is that a fair description? I think the turtle was spot on. Great work, Hodgie. Well done, mate.
Luke Hodge down there, the skipper, with the former premiership skipper in Cameron Ling, both pretty respectful of each other down there.
Yeah, I think Luke Hodge is happy Lingy's got the microphone and not the bear hug around him that he had in grand finals and on big occasions. But there's Josh Gibson going around high-fiving the crowd. Plenty of Hawk fans here tonight would have loved what they saw. As you said, 6-1. They've got an incredible draw coming up the next 3 weeks. They can really rest a few players and set themselves up for another crack at a grand final.
So Josh Gibson just decides to turn and come back towards the team. He was off doing a bit of a me celebration there, Josh O. But he's working his way back to the team centre now. Buddy Franklin still wasn't his best game, but he kicked 2 of the first 3 goals. He kicked 3 goals for the game and looked lively, and was there when the heat was really on early in this game, because it was a really brisk, fast pressure, strong game in the first half, wasn't it?
The first 10 minutes were as hard and as hotly contested a balls I've seen in any game this year. You'd expect it. They're 2 of the gun sides. That's stating the absolute obvious. They played in the grand final last year, but you could just see it was a class, high standard game, but really impressive Hawthorn. They're a better team than last year. They are disappointed about the way the grand final finished, obviously, again. But for mine, they're the best team in the competition, Brian. I rate them at their best, the best side going around.
Brian Lake there just said to his teammates, and good on him, he said, no, I don't want to be carried off. I'm happy just to say hello and salute the family up in the stands and say I've played 200. A modest approach there from the former dog, Brian Lake, and I guess he feels he played a lot of those at the Western Bulldogs, and perhaps for Hawthorn players to cheer him off wouldn't probably be, as right as it should be.
I think he summed that up pretty well, actually. If he was still at the Western Bulldogs, a bit more history.
Yep.
So he's decided that, just want to blend into this side, and best way to do it is to keep presenting yourself the way he did tonight. Big Lakey, he looks fit and firing.
There's Ruffy, look at him high-fiving as they walk down. The former skipper and current skipper talk to each other there.
This is the best feeling in sport, Brian. There's 4 or 5 minutes, you're sore, but it's a good tired feeling. You come in and sing the song with your mates. You get 4 or 5 minutes to relax, and then you're straight into recovery mode after it. They'll enjoy this one tonight.
I don't think there's any Powerade shower on this one, is there?
No, I think
Gervais into his 4th game. Simpkin into his 6th game. So it'll be sung with some gusto, though, I would think. Brian Lake telling the photographers to get out of the middle there.
Just a few inquiries. Where's Clarko? Is Clarko up for a song tonight? Yep, there he is.
This has been a Fox Footy presentation.